Hello once again, and welcome back to Nerve Check, where I've already screwed up the intro. It is me once again with the, with the looks and the brains, and three of our newest friends from Quebec. We have Paul, Max, and James here, who all came down to King Beyond the Wall, and apparently are some of the tens of listeners. So guess what? We're not going to have as many listens this time around. However, we're more than happy to have them on to talk about their experiences of their first GT and what might happen and how they got there. Ray.
Because the first GT they went to was March of Death.
That's
and what
right.
we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage them to come back to King Beyond the Wall.
We're trying to encourage them from coming back. What the hell are we putting them on here?
Now, with our excellent intro out of the way,
with our excellent intro, I would like to. So, Max, Paul, and James, hello.
Hello.
Welcome on to hear the craziness that we all have. That apparently is this podcast. Oh, believe it or not, this intro was a lot better than the last one. But the three of you did come down for King Beyond the Wall. For March of Death on the last time around. You quite graciously made that trip the entire way down. So we'll just find out how was your experience with coming down there, and God help you meeting some of us.
You guys weren't that bad. I've seen worse.
That's how you
well, thank you very much.
First statement, not too bad.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too shabby.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was amazing. It was really, really cool to finally get down to a GT, even just like an event. It was my first Kings of War event and my first game against anybody but this guy, James, basically, and Max. We played Tim too, I guess. We could drive over to Tim's place sometimes, but really that was it. So it was great.
But that was it. Eh? So coming down with what were your guys' sort of expectations? Were you just hoping to run into a bunch of more Kings of War people? Were you scared? Were you, oh God, what the fuck is going to happen with all this stuff? And I
guess there's always a nervousness of like how it's going to be, and I find that the fact that we hadn't played so many other people, our knowledge of the rules is kind of what we made of it. So I was kind of worried that like getting there, finally a bunch of things that we had sort of understood of the rules would just not be the same thing, and then it would just screw up the whole game. Like you kind of get there, you're like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and then finally be told, yeah, that's not legal, kind of thing. So yeah, that I was kind of happy that didn't happen. So
yeah, I was gonna say that we didn't run into any of that really.
No,
I guess the best part about coming down to a GT is the fact that you did get a chance to actually play 5 different opponents, and thanks to unfortunately not knowing some of the rules and that, you guys did kind of like broach the middle table sorts of things, but you were kind of, well, James unfortunately ran into me at one point in time, and I apologized on more than one occasion for showing him what Ensnare does, because it's one of those things that you never really want to run into is a rule that you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I can't remember. John, did you get a chance to play any of these three?
I don't think so.
No,
I didn't.
No,
it was too high in the tables to
Oh no, I was not. I just missed all of you. That's all. Yeah.
But I gotta say, I think Ray, you pulled some strings to make sure that we all got new opponents, which was much.
Well,
that's a secret.
No, but that's actually one of the things that I was talking to Chet when he ran his tournament 4 weeks after mine in the Mid-Atlantic, because we were comparing notes as tournament organizers. And the commentary, the advice I gave to him, because he has a club that's starting out with all new players. And I said, look, on day one, everyone has club protection. So all three of you guys came down as les champions, the champions, mushrooms, whichever way you want to take it. And so you guys had club immunity for the first day, so you didn't have to play each other. But then day 2 comes, and everyone cares about what's going on the top half. But if you're on the bottom, like there's no need for you guys to play each other, because no matter what happens, you're not going to win the tournament on day 2. when you're down there. So Eric Trowbridge, the person he came up with, they were playing on table 1 and table 2 on game 4. And if they both won, they would have to play each other for round 5 because they're playing for the top spot. And it sucks to be them driving 7 hours home, but they would have to do it because, like, if you're 1 and 2,
You can't do anything about
on
that,
round
yeah.
5. Yeah. But if you're like 31 and 32, I don't need to put you both on table 16 on round 5 because you're not going to win the tournament. That being said, Wooden Spoon was a contentious issue, and it did come down to the final points. So that was an award which we actually didn't know until that final game ended. But yeah, it was a pleasure. So that was the advice I gave to Chet, and Chet copied that on his tournament, and it's going to be the advice I give to Alex for King Beyond the Wall is you can play with the bottom
You can
couple of
massage
tables
the
to make sure that no one
pairings,
plays.
Because the last thing we want, the last thing we really want is like people that come who've never like come out to a tournament or something like that. And one, hopefully you play not just different people, but different armies as well. Because coming out to a tournament is one of those things where you really want people to, you want to spark their imagination and go, that was a cool army. I want to try that. And I'm, on the way, I've said on here a bunch of times, the whole point in going to tournaments is the anticipation on the way there and the talking about lists and armies and things you do or don't want to, and then how the dice screwed you on the way home and the stories that happen in between. That's the best part of, well, in my opinion, of tournaments. So you can't really have that if the person that you've played is the guy you're driving back with, because the last thing you want to do, you can discuss your game and all the rest of that. And I've had those sort of discussions on the way back from tournaments when I've played against people that are in the car with me and that sort of thing. But you really just kind of want to go, that was a cool army. This was a cool thing. I've never seen this before. I want to try this. This has sparked my interest. So that's kind of where I come from, those sorts of things as well.
Absolutely. So I don't know how receptive. Actually, I'm going to put it out here. Alex is going to be very receptive to that comment and consideration beyond the wall because he doesn't have a choice now because it's now public.
I'll say that from my part, it was very much appreciated because that's it. Like, Paul and I have played quite a few games. Max and I haven't played many games actually, but Paul and I played quite a few, so it's appreciated. That's it. When you do a 7.5 hour drive, that you're not just playing something you could have been playing at home, right? What it comes down to. So,
well, let's sorry, go ahead, Mike.
And one of the things that was really cool was all three of you guys carpooled down together, right? So you guys could have those conversations in the car coming down. And I think
the matchup,
that'd be one of the suggestions is if you can go with a friend to a GT, like to have that carpool time, like Ben was talking about, to discuss what armies you're playing against on the way down, on the way back, talk about all the games you played. Because did you guys talk about
watch your
that
podcast on the way up?
Yeah. Matchcast. Yeah, we were listening to that on the way up. Yeah, we talked a bunch of strategy, but it clearly didn't do us any good. The way reliving it all was really cool. Yeah, definitely. If you can, I think the main takeaway, if I could say just one thing to like get it out of the way, is just if you're thinking about going, just go. Like, even if you don't have buddies to go with, or even you don't have an army, like Max borrowed somebody who's super happy to lend an army. So if you just go, but if you do have buddies, obviously, that's much more.
I didn't have an army, and I had never played Kings of War in real life, just on UB. So that was a pretty scary drive on the way up. But great time. Yeah. So I definitely benefited from carpooling because I had their strategy and a couple tips to go in with. So
perfect. I mean, hell, on my way down, when we went down to Masters, I got to listen to John and Ray talk about, armies and things on the way down. Believe it or not, that actually helped me out a ton. Yeah. But, it's just one of those things where it's just that camaraderie and that, how do I do this sort of thing? And yeah, the first time you're coming down, you borrowed an army from Nathan, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So people coming out, I mean, I'm not going to say Nathan has an army for everybody sort of thing, but
he does.
but he does. No. If people are thinking about coming out to any of the tournaments now, in the Southern Ontario area, get in touch with us. I mean, we're not that hard to find. And on top of that, if you just need an army to come out and try, trust me, we'll find you something.
No,
We'll find you
seriously,
something
Nathan has an army for everyone. Literally,
And
anyone. I borrowed. From
I
him
have
too.
4 armies.
Yeah.
Ben has a couple armies. John has a couple armies. Most people have at least 2 armies. So if you get in touch with us and there's an army you want to try, like chances are Nathan has it.
Yeah.
If not, one of us could probably
So basically,
help.
we're just throwing Nathan under the bus at this point in
Yes,
time. He's going
we
to
do every
provide an
time.
army.
That's totally fine. He knows his job, and he's very good at it.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
I
what
gotta
works.
say also the fact that you guys are a lot more accepting of proxies is also quite fun. Seeing those armies that are like not at all what you would expect them to be is kind of a refreshing change.
Yeah.
The general theme is if it looks cool and is generally representative of what it needs to be, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, make the bases look full, make them look fun, explain to your opponent what they are. As long as it's not too crazy, like trying to run infantry as monsters or something, you're good to go.
Yeah.
If it flies and if it doesn't fly and it has wings, we might take a
That's
little bit
weird.
of that might throw you off, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, we've like Corey, the guy that runs Crossroads. I mean, he runs that Japanese army as absolutely everything. I think it's been almost every army in the game. When I
My
played
elves
them,
are heading into their 4th army, so
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's fine.
it is what it is. Sorry, Ray.
So in addition to like what Max was saying, where if you don't have an army, just reach out. I remember going to Crossroads and I didn't bring my dice, my tape measure, my any of that stuff. So on the morning of or the night before, I'm like, guys, can I borrow dice? Can I borrow a tape measure? Can I borrow and everyone hooked me up and I had a full set of things to play with the next day. And so even if you need those kind of things, or if you forget them and show up, most people have an extra set of dice, an extra tape measure. So don't be afraid if you need that kind of stuff to just show up and play.
Rock up and play.
Because somebody will have it.
Speaking of rock up and playing, what did you guys bring to this to that first tournament of yours? What about you, Paul?
I brought Forces of the Abyss. I had painted it with a month before I started painting it, and managed to get it all done with help my lovely wife. We were painting minis basically every night, every day. Whenever we had free time, we were just painting for the course of the month, and we ended up getting it done. So it's Forces of the Abyss. That was what I brought.
Well, she didn't leave you after painting models with you. Trust me, that's a keeper. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
What about you there, James? What did you bring out?
I brought Empire of Dust, and actually I'm in the same boat as Paul. I started my army about a month before the tournament, and my girlfriend and I basically painted the whole thing in a month. I had just my Revenant army, my Revenant horde that wasn't finished, but
it looked good.
Yeah, the majority of it was fine, overall. So I was really satisfied. So if we are gonna say advice for newcomers, don't start painting your army a month before. Give yourself 2 months. It's
always start painting a month before. Trust me, it's normally a week before, and you're painting on the day. I think that is a gamer's way of actually making everything work.
Yeah.
There's always somebody painting right up the night before, right up until the game starts. Often it's Ray. Yeah.
I mean, Ray was getting on a plane. I think he was still, putting paint on models while he was checking.
I was getting off home the next day, and I was up till 1 a.m. 1 a.m. finishing my last unit, and it was like ... because that's why the episode of going to Vanguard didn't come out till after, because I was busy painting.
Well, Max, you did borrow an army, but you brought what?
Northern Alliance.
Northern Alliance. And this time around, if you do, and of course you are coming to King Beyond the Wall, right?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. But are you going to do the same thing this time around, or?
Yes. So Northern Alliance again, and then my guys this time.
But all your guys.
Nice.
So
I'm printing him a few models right now.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
So Paul, if I recall, you had the top tier game, Table One,
that was
round one.
wild, man. Eric Trowbridge. Yeah, that's my first debut.
You poor bastard.
Oh, it was great. I count myself lucky. I feel like that was a great experience. He's such a nice guy. I learned so much in that one game. Honestly, I learned so much. I feel like I learned more in that one weekend than I had in the years that we've been playing together, playing those 5 games back to back to back. But yeah, that first game was a humbling experience and a learning experience, but it was awesome. It was great. Fantastic.
Possibly one of the top 10 players in North America. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, because I did the matchup cast, and it was like, oh, you're playing Eric. And I didn't know how much you had played. And I was like, oh, this should be a good game on Table One, Forces of Abyss. So you played on the lava board, so you terrain match with the army. It was like, oh, this is a good matchup. And I sat and I watched you, and you were like, what am I up for? And it looked like it was a very what's the correct way to say, like polite, congenial, friendly game. And he trounced you because that's what he does, because he's awesome.
As it should be,
yeah. Hi, Eric, to one of our tens of listeners. Thank you for listening to
us. So, Max, you were. Do you remember who you played round one?
Eamon.
Oh, okay. You played ogres.
I got straight into the Siegebreaker wall. Yeah.
I played Northern Alliance, and one of the things that. Yeah, that's a lot of Def 6. That was my fault, by the way. So,
thanks.
But so you went in with Northern Alliance. Have you made any changes to your list? What do you like? What did you learn from there?
Well, I made changes to my list mostly just because of what units I actually have. But I'll have some Icekin Hunters this time that I'm going to try out.
Nice.
But I don't have as many Cavern Dwellers that I own as I did in the army that I borrowed, which is a bit disappointing because those were awesome. I had 3 Cavern Dwellers at one point in my 2300 list, I think it was, and I won't be able to do that this time, and I'm going to miss that because that was pretty overpowered. But
we may have some extra for you.
Just maybe just get James to print you some more real fast.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try more. I'm going to try some Clansmen dwarves, and then also James is printing me out some Frostfangs. So those are going to be nice.
Nice.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have a Northern Alliance cast out for you soon as well. But Mr. LaHaye will be very happy in hearing this. Because he
does love his Cavern Dwellers.
He does love his Cavern Dwellers. All right, James, and how about you? Who were your first opponent? And
I don't remember who was my first opponent. I believe it was a Northern Alliance army. But I'm not 100% sure. But I'll be honest, my army was a very, how could we say, all around the board type thing. I had a bit of cavalry, a bit of shooting, a bit of, and I feel that it wasn't like I wasn't sort of performing on any fronts. So my next army, I'm looking into doing an almost all mummies army.
Oh damn!
So.
And John's laughing because he was like,
please tell me you're taking the Pharaoh.
Oh yeah, obviously, right? Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna hate this army.
Pharaoh with the elite aura. I'm still running a Revenant horde with Showbeak behind, so some Iron Resolve in the center. So, just make sure that it's basically a tar pit that you're stuck there if ever you get near.
So,
that would be a fun one. Scouting mummies that will never
basically
die.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So after your first few games in that, did this do what you were hoping that it was going to do? Did it spark the interest? Was it we're coming out to see if we even want to continue to play this game because it's hard enough to find people and all the rest of that sort of thing? I'm hoping we've kind of wet your whistle in coming back out and that sort of thing. So hopefully it did something like that.
I would say 100%. I feel like you're talking getting inspired. I was pretty much inspired. I think it really hit me, I guess, the first morning, like the Saturday morning. I'd never seen so many War Movers let alone Kings of War players in one place. And then you just glance around and like every single army looked good. A whole lot of them looked amazing. And then all the tables and everything. I think it really was like, what exactly what you would want to experience to be when you're just looking there and then just kind of overwhelmed by all the stuff. It was awesome. Definitely coming back to, well, as many as I can, really. It's just, it sucks that the closest one for us is 7 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Max? What, like, same sort of thing? You're all hyped and ready for the next thing, or?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as like getting what I wanted to get out of it, definitely. I was just really scared going into that first tournament, and I was just hoping everyone was going to be real nice and maybe get, just a little bit of patience, because even just remembering my own stats, I wasn't super up to date with that on my own, but everybody was amazing. And that first game, I definitely got destroyed. Second game was a little bit better, got to try some new stuff, but fourth game, I ended up actually winning, I believe. So that was crazy, because I was just like, go in there, learn how to move around on a real table and get a feel for it, have a good time. And then we ended up taking home a W. So that was nice too.
Nice.
And now, but sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, I think each of us got at least one, right? We each one. You got two.
He's got two.
You got two. James is the championist of the all.
So, sorry, I'm jumping over my own words here on top of my head here. But you came out, you saw the room, you've seen the players. Was there anything else that you were expecting that it just sort of you were happy it went one way, or kind of you were hoping it would go another, like the playing on a clock? I'm guessing you guys have done this before, or
No, we hadn't. And I'll be honest, that was something that was stressful at first, until I realized that like at my first game I had like 25 minutes left. And I'm like, easy
humble
stuff.
brag.
I agree. I think I was also stressed out about it, but I don't think it really was a factor in any of the games. If anything, it was just like it was a present stressor for the first one. But yeah, like you said, after that first game, you're kind of like, okay, it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, because you also you all started like 20. Was it 25 or 2,600 points? I can't remember.
2,500.
There's 2,500 to begin. So we started with everybody else started with a proper time on their clock. Some of us may have been about 5 to 10 minutes shorter than it should have been and clocked out, but I won't name any names of me. But
Okay.
Hey, it was your brother.
weird tangent. Moving on.
What can we do to help anyone coming out to King Beyond the Wall for the first time, as the TO or as the primary organizers, to make life easier for the tournament, whether it's like maps or directions or anything along those lines?
I don't think there was much. Like we got there really fine. There wasn't much I'd say that could be done more. In my opinion, I think everything was really clear when we got there. It wasn't hard to find you guys. Like it was, yeah. So,
Yeah, I wish I had more feedback for you guys, but it really was great. Also, I guess we don't have anything to compare it to, but it felt good.
We'll take it.
Some of the things that I think stood out, like the stuff that we talked about afterwards, I think, again, this was our only one, but I know that they're not always at a venue like that one, right? And I think that was really cool that everybody's there. And then after, like during the breaks, we all go into that, like the dining hall, and then you just kind of walk in and find a table, find a familiar face. Everybody's hanging out. It felt really, really cool and easy to kind of just, fit in, I guess. It was great. It was cool. So that was cool to have it there at that venue.
Yeah, no, the camaraderie has been something that I haven't. I've played a bunch of different game systems. I know me and John have been on OTC teams together, and this community. And I know I'm trying to big it up in some people might think I'm trying to big it up in some way, but I'm not. But this is a community where you can literally sit down, never have met the guy before, and just start talking. And it has been fantastic. Like the joke I always make about the silver fox and his and his hair and not being able to play. If these like who would who would make these sorts of jokes? And I mean, I had the guy in my car. I drove him from the airport to the venue, and he's just such a great guy. And I don't think I've met somebody in this community who would have been like, oh crap, I never really want to play that guy again. So I think that's a real good plus for everything we're doing here.
But that also, one thing you just said there stands out is that it's a community where people get picked up from the airport all the time for tournaments by other players that they may know, they may not know, they may just be the closest guy to the airport who's like, yeah, don't worry, I got you, I'll bring you to the tournament. It happens at all of the major tournaments that someone is willing to be like, yep, no, don't worry, I got you, I'll get you there, we'll have a great time, I'll drop you off, and you'll be on your way home. I've never played in another game system where that would reliably happen.
No.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, that was the one thing, is that I think I was more focused on playing the game, and I didn't, speak to as many people as I could have. If, I feel like I was sort of not bottleneck, but I was really focused on, how am I going to play, getting my army on the table, sort of on that. So I didn't speak to as many people as I could have. But, during breakfast, when we were just all sitting at the same table, that's it. It's like everyone's there. And people from all ages too, which is kind of the fun part. Like, you sort of
different
different backgrounds, different ages, have completely different. So like when you do take the time to speak to people, everyone's just super too.
What I would encourage is that when you do have those breaks, when you do have that downtime, if you've gone to a tournament and you see somebody playing the exact same army as you, hit them up for some, why are you taking this? Why are you doing that? Hey, how's it going? Like, in my first Crossroads, we had 3 guys playing Trident Realms, and the 3 of us never met each other before. All started talking about each other's armies and why we were taking certain things, and just kind of very jovially saying, oh, well, I'm 1 and 2, or what are you, like, at the on the first day sort of thing. And believe it or not, those things will all encourage you not just to come out again, but to change your army and look at different things and try and pick up just those little extra things about the army that you never thought about before, like certain individuals that may fly and go 23 inches and kill other individuals, and why cabin dwellers are so damn good, or is Shobik something to actually take, or those sorts of things along those sorts of timelines. And it could be as simple as just kind of going, hey, your army looks cool, and then it just seems to go from there. Like, I don't know, did you get it? So you didn't really get a chance to talk to. Well, that's not true, because you guys also sat at our tables and that.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I didn't speak to anyone. It's just I could have done more.
It's normal to feel like that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Max and I know I don't know about you, James, but on the Saturday night, because Friday we got there late, and then by Saturday evening, we were both beat.
Yeah.
We didn't do like the Saturday night kind of chilling and playing games. So that's something that I would like to do next time around, is after the game hang out. But I think we'd have to try and get there earlier on the Friday to make sure that
you can take over and host
by Saturday night.
Well,
I had to sleep pretty late.
At least this time you'll know exactly where you're going, because there's no change to the venue and no change really to any of it, because everything's about exactly the same except the points total. So
would you suggest for more people to come out that are, or have you, a better question is, have you met any more people that are playing Kings of War up towards you
yet? It's actually surprising how many people are in Montreal. I just feel that there's a lack of communication in that sense. Because we've met, there's one guy that's in Quebec City, there's another guy that's in Three Rivers, there's another guy that's in Laval that I've played against. It's just that they're not super active, so it's sort of like trying to get them into playing a bit more. It's just that for sure when you've got a full life and you're telling yourself you have to, putting in that weekend, sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do. But
at the same time, it's nice to have that weekend coming up where you're like, there's no kids. There's no significant other. There's no anything else. You're going to go sleep in a hotel room in your own goddamn bed, roll a bunch of dice, drink a little bit, and just sort of have a good time. I mean, we can't all be, young and fun people. Well, I'm definitely not a young, fun person anymore. But, the drinking part I don't do either. But, getting away from kids and obligations and that sort of thing is definitely, it's a good little side trek.
James, in the early days of building up Ontario, Alex and I added every single person who expressed any interest at all into one group chat. And we would talk shit about the game. We'd talk shit about armies. We'd post pictures of armies or paint jobs or whatever. And that is what has helped kind of get it going and keep it going to this point. Because then it gives you your main draw to have people talking about the game. Because then, I mean, it's happening the opposite right now for me. I'm not spending as much time in the group chat, so I'm playing less games. Right? Because it's not always there as the reinforcing factor of, oh yeah, all my buddies are playing this. You know what? I should go out for a game this Friday. I can make time to go do that. When you're active in the group chat and you've got everybody talking, then you'll find you get more games out of it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's a good point because I feel like that's kind of where we're at. I know coming back from the tournament, I feel like we're all super energized and just wanting to play. We've been organizing game days between ourselves, but I think we're at that point now where we're trying to really build the community around us.
Yep,
that's actually a great idea to do that group chat. We went to this one store, kind of outside of Montreal. They have they have Kings of War product, which is surprising. I think they're the only place in Quebec that has it. But they're not keen on tournaments. Apparently, like we're talking about the community and the camaraderie. And I've heard stories where other games, like the people we're talking to, they're saying that tournaments actually decrease your player base because people rage quit. And I was like, man, that's so far from the experience we went through. So we were trying to tell him, no, you don't understand. Tournaments are great. We should do a tournament. He's like, no, I don't know.
So don't do a tournament then. Do a game day where you just come and you play round robin games and then everybody gets a prize. I do it for Infinity when I run Infinity days, right? Everybody comes out, everybody plays, everybody goes home with a prize. There's no points, there's no scoring. Don't keep track of your games. No one cares. Just come out, have a good time, and then go home.
Yeah. The best thing is that if you do have somebody just sort of there playing the game, nobody's going to know to ask about it unless you're there playing the game.
Yeah,
and the practice that you get, and also something that will also help you kind of want to finish an army, is bringing it out to a store and going, okay, so I've got 10% of this bloody thing finished. It's all put together. People keep asking.
I only have 10% more to go, and you just need that last kick to get it done. Put it on the table in a real game. You're like, oh, I got to get this done.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, actually. The tournament really pushed me to painting. It's my first painted army. It's always been something I sort of pushed off. I did a lot of D&D painting, so singular models. But to actually getting into painting an army where you're saying I'm painting 40 times the same guy, not the same type of devotion, So.
No, it's something that getting used to batch painting is something that takes sort of.
It's a different skill set. Yeah.
But what we are hearing here is that you've just going down the camaraderie, the seeing the people, the sitting around, the communication and the talking and these are all reasons to actually, finally get up and go. And like you said, we're all different age groups. We've got everybody from, who is that? Steve's son, who will come out, who's 14. Yeah. All the way up to, Mike, who's 62 at this point in time. No, I think he's only 61, but anyway.
Or my other dad, when he shows up, who's even older.
That's
Your
right.
real dad does show up from time to time. Yeah.
So, I mean, it really doesn't matter in those sorts of things. What might draw some of you to a tournament? Max, what was the thing that really wanted to get you to come out?
Well, mainly just my brother talking about how fun it would be. And then I was nervous, but I was like, all right, let's go do it. You said everybody would be nice, and of course, everyone was really nice. And like James and everyone else is saying, you know, with all the different age ranges and different people of different walks of life and everything, you're all there for a common thing, and it's just really easy to just get in and meet everybody.
I will say even just the level of play, like one of the expectations I had naively or what is it, like hubris, in my hubris, I was going up, I was like, yeah, my goal is to be top half. For sure I'll be top half. Maybe I'll even podium. And then I was immediately humbled, right? And then, honestly, the left, like the way that, well, somebody like Eric Trowbridge, I guess, would be kind of an extreme, but the way I had never thought about, like there's certain things that he was doing, like never think to do those things, and just realizing that, like, okay, there's so many more levels to this game, and just being exposed to that and seeing somebody like that play, that would be another reason for me to get out there. It's not only like other people, other armies experience the whole range of what's on offer for the game, but those upper levels too, just to be around that and learn would be another reason for me to go.
What about you, James?
There's like, again, I think it's the whole package. There's not just one singular thing that would make me want to go back, or that it's the everything. It's the whole experience.
And what do you think it would take to finally get our buddy TJ to actually show his ass up the next time around with this?
That's thickness.
I think he's that to King Beyond the Wall. No, he's supposed to be. I guess he's supposed to.
You may have to mug him and get him to come along with us, because damn it, I wanted to see that army in action. So it was
one day, Ben. One day
we will see this army in action.
We'll have to bring him. No, I'm going. James, I think we're all planning on going. No, I'm signed up, so I'll be there. We'll try and get Tim to get down there too.
Yeah, just knock him over top of the back of the head. Just throw him in the back of the car. He'll be fine. He's Australian.
So,
he's used to being.
We are currently. Wait, Ben. We're approaching half of the spots now.
Yeah, you're just trying to make sure that I actually show up.
King
it's actually.
Well, no, I'm including you because you have no.
I guess I should sign up too.
Like,
I'm coming. It's already put in the diary as.
But with Ben and John, like, because they don't have a choice. But like with Ben and John, we're quickly approaching. We're over a third and approaching half of the 32 spots that we have, because I want to keep it at 32 because I thought we had enough space with everyone around between the tables so that it's full but not crowded, so that you have that good camaraderie in the room.
I got a question for the gentleman here. So the first one is for Max and James. I don't know who's going to know the answer to this, but what model range is Max's new army being printed from?
Well, I think, Max, you bought some. You like most of your models are going to be bought. They're the authentic Mantic.
The Vault.
Yeah, just about half of them. I got a bunch of printed dwarves now as well.
Because the models I'm printing for him are actually from the Vault. So right now his range is pretty much all Mantic. I'll be honest, mine is almost no Mantic. Actually, I don't think I have any Mantic.
That's okay.
Skeleton. You can
but I'll be honest, this is the worst part, is I have a mega box set. I have all the models from Mantic, but some of the other models that I found are so much nicer and unique.
You are preaching to the choir, my man. Preaching to the choir.
And again, like for example, my Showbeak, right? My Showbeak I bought before Mantic even had models for Showbeak. I have models that date back almost like 8 years. So that's kind of some of the reason. Also, I'm not using all Mantic, and I bought since I started that long ago, I have some old world models. So I've got a mix of those.
Since he started that long ago, 8 years ago. Right.
I'm not going to say what I said.
How about you, Paul? What's your army made up from?
It's like 99% Mantic. I have one. It's for the Manifestation of Baal. There's no models. I had something lying around, but actually everything that I have has some part of Mantic. Like the Baal a Minotaur with gargoyle wings.
Okay.
And I also have some. I'm building right now some Abyssal Horsemen, but they're just GW chariots, and I'm putting some lower abyssals in there and putting a couple of the bits on there. So everything's got some Mantic on it.
Nice. Leads to the next question. If you had a dream army project, what would it be? Either models, ranges, list, whatever. Max, you go first.
Well, I'm still working on getting my current army painted and built and finished. So I would just say having a full army of my Northern Alliance set up. And those 3 cabin dwellers. I got to get 2 more.
There you go. That's a great dream to start with. How about you, Paul?
My dream army. That's
Yeah.
an interesting question. I've always had a soft spot for orcs. I have just bought a bunch of orcs off of Alex, actually.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that transaction. Yep.
Yeah. So I started back in Warhammer 6, I think, was an orc army, which I never won a game, but it was fun. It was fun. But honestly, actually, I'm my dream project would be to sculpt my own. I'm a
Nice.
illustrator, concept artist by profession, so I'm learning 3D sculpting, and that's a venture that I'm looking to get into. Actually, is sculpting some minis for the purpose of using them in Kings of War. So that would be
Very
the dream.
cool.
My own orc army, and then have that to go.
It's almost as if we should talk about a Nerf check army figure of some sort.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
that'd be
might be
awesome.
something that we could talk about in the very near future.
Except it has to be a
Speaking of-
Magus conclave. Anyways, James, what about yours?
I'll be honest. For me, it's really getting more models painted. Again, you know, like 3D printing most of my models, I have a full army list. There's nothing in the Empire of Dust I don't have. But I have them in gray. Let's put it that way, right? So it's getting those armies painted. So yeah, it's for me it'd be finishing officially my Empire of Dust.
Nice. Last question I got for you guys is: are any of you thinking of signing up for Crossroads?
Ooh.
So you thought we had a lot of people at 32 players.
Oh,
Crossroads is a tournament that Corey runs, which I think last year had 90-ish, and the year before was 90-ish, and the last year I went was like 120.
I'd like to go.
So,
when and where?
This one.
it is in September. It is the second last weekend of September, and it is in Elmira, New York. So I don't know how it wouldn't be that bad for you guys because you guys can just kind of cut down through Syracuse and over. So it wouldn't be too bad.
It's funny because TJ always says that New York is as close as meta.
Yeah.
But
so it's a team tournament, 4-player teams, and it is one of the most fun events. Maybe like third after ours.
Yeah. It's the best in the US. In the Canadian ones, you know, we're still kicking out 1 and 2 because it's the only ones we've been to. So
yeah,
but I don't think I'll be going to this one.
Yeah, September's a rough month, especially that it's my girlfriend's birthday. So it's a hard month to say, oh yeah, I'm not going to be there for a weekend.
It's normally on my anniversary. So
Oh, really?
yeah. It's been one that's a little up and down for me as well. So I feel but speaking of other tournaments, we of course have Summer Smash coming up in Ottawa, I believe it is. Ottawa. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Oshawa Summer Smash, which is being run by Josh and Nathan this time around. Ray, I think you're heading down to see Bug Eater, you son of a beach.
Well, it's for all the same reasons that all these guys talked about. Like I'm flying in, I'm getting picked up at the airport, which is what John talked about. Being put up at Adam Ballard's house, getting to play games with a group of guys who I don't really know, don't know the meta. So everything you're talking about, like first time, that's gonna be my first time playing at games in the Midwest. I have a lot of the same feelings going that way.
Believe it or not, we still get nervous heading down to the shit.
Oh, absolutely, because it's going to be how do they play? What do they do different? You know, how do they interpret the rules? How do they so all the same things you guys talked about? I'm feeling going to Bug Eater at the end of the month. But yeah, and Ben, I volunteered you next year for March of Death to pick up Alex Chavez
Thanks.
from the airport if he flies into Washington.
He's got a 50% chance of making it.
No, your army has a 50% chance of making it.
Yeah,
Alex, 100% chance.
I will definitely bet
But,
Chavez
no.
was a great. I had the honor of playing him at Dead of Winter, which was fantastic to play him. But we also have King Beyond the Wall after that in August.
Yes.
So we have Summer Smash. We have King of the Thames, which is being debated. King Beyond the Wall in August, Crossroads
So
in
those
September.
are the current upcoming ones. We know that it's hard for you guys to come down or something like that, but the moment we get something closer to you, trust me, we will come up. So get that Tim guy moving because he's promised us a tournament more than once.
Tim's been wanting to do host something a bit bigger because so far he's hosted 3 times at his place. He's able to fit good 2 tables in his place, so it's not like that bad. There's actually quite a bit of room, but that's it. He's been wanting to host something a bit bigger. So it's just for him to get onto it and actually get it done.
Well, with that all being said, and with all the tangents that we've gone on for this time around, we'll bring this one to an end. Remember about Summer Smash coming up. I believe there are still just four spots held up. So if you're in the area, in the Oshawa area, in the Southern Ontario area, please take a look at. We need to fill this stuff up. It would be great because those guys always come down to us. So once again, we say thank you to Paul, Max, and James for coming on and telling us that we were actually nice people and lying to us while we're here. And for the looks and the brains and myself, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Good night.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.